Chosen one, listen closely. You didn't click on this by accident. Your spirit led you here before your mind understood why. Something in you knows there is a shift happening, even if you can't explain it yet. God is speaking to the ones who have been hidden, overlooked, underestimated, and pushed aside. The ones people walk past, but heaven never stopped watching. God is saying, I am lifting the ones they ignored. I am promoting the ones they counted out. This blessing coming over your life is not random. It's precise, intentional, pre-scheduled. God wrote your breakthrough into your timeline long before the pain ever entered your story. And the door that's about to open for you won't need votes, endorsements, or approval from anyone. It's stamped by heaven and reserved in your name. Before we go deeper, if your spirit is already responding to this, like and subscribe so you don't miss what God is releasing next, because what's coming is confirmation for you. Some of you have asked silently, why has the battle been so intense for me? Why you've faced more storms than people who don't even try to live right? Why your name was mishandled? Why your faith got shaken? Why your mind came under attack? You thought you were the problem. But God says the warfare was proof of the calling. Hell doesn't waste energy on anything that isn't a threat. The enemy saw your future before you recognized your identity. That's why he tried to stop you early. But you're still here. You're still standing. You're still believing. And because you didn't fold under pressure, you're about to step into the very thing others swore you would never reach. The same people who looked down on you will witness God elevate you. The same voices that doubted you will tell the testimony they can't deny. But listen, what God is giving you isn't just blessing, it's assignment. Heaven doesn't release resources without purpose. God doesn't give overflow to feed ego. He gives abundance to expand impact. You're not being blessed to flex. You're being blessed to build. The wealth that's coming is connected to something bigger than you. Someone's breakthrough is tied to your obedience. Someone's healing is connected to your calling. Someone's open door is attached to your blessing. That's why God didn't fund you when you were still in a comfort zone. Comfort doesn't birth expansion. Vision does. God funds visions, not excuses. God increases people who are ready to pour out, not people who plan to keep everything to themselves. And hear this clearly. The blessing that's coming won't stop with you. It will touch your family, your children, your community, your assignment. You're not receiving in the measure of your need. You're receiving in the measure of your purpose. That's why the enemy wants you to think money is the miracle. But money is not the miracle. It's a tool. The real miracle is the mission. The real miracle is the transformation. The real miracle is who you become while God blesses you. Because wealth with no purpose is emptiness, but wealth with purpose is legacy. And now you're starting to realize why you had to lose first, why certain people walked away, why connections dried up, why opportunities evaporated, why you were stripped. You thought God was punishing you, but He was preparing you. Some things had to leave because they could not go where God is taking you. The things you wept over were actually clearing space. The heartbreak carved out room for the breakthrough. The loss created capacity for the blessing. You didn't know it then, but God was removing what was blocking you. That delay you hated was actually protection. That no was actually direction. That closed door was actually divine redirection. God wasn't late. He was positioning you. You were being pushed into purpose, not pushed into failure. Don't misunderstand the season. You weren't being broken down. You were being built differently. And the pain you've carried? It wasn't pointless. Pain is proof that the blessing is close. If you weren't about to give birth to something major, the contractions wouldn't have been that strong. Every tear watered the ground. Every loss planted something eternal. Every disappointment was shaping destiny. You didn't lose, you made room. You didn't fail, you shifted. You didn't collapse, you transformed. You're not listening to this by accident. There is a reason your spirit won't let you click away. Something inside you knows the promise is here. Not someday, now. Not eventually, now. You've been in process long enough. You've been refined long enough. You've been tested long enough. Heaven is saying, you're ready. Ready for elevation. Ready for purpose. Ready for wealth. Ready for impact. Ready for the version of you that God designed before the pain tried to redefine you. What God is preparing to release next explains why the last season looked the way it did, why certain people faded, why certain friendships shifted, and why access was denied in places you expected support. It wasn't rejection, it was realignment. God wasn't punishing you. He was positioning you for the kind of blessing that transforms not just your finances, but your identity, your atmosphere, and your entire bloodline. And the first step of that transformation was separation. Separating from the wrong people is never comfortable, but it is always necessary. Not everyone can travel where God is taking you. Some people were perfect for your past, but dangerous for your future. Some were meant for your history, not your destiny. The doors God is opening ahead of you are too heavy to carry extra weight through. There are connections that were good for survival, but not good for elevation, because comfort and calling rarely live in the same room. God will disconnect you from comfort to connect you to destiny. You prayed for the blessing, but you didn't realize it required separation. You asked to be elevated, but elevation requires a higher atmosphere. What you thought was rejection was actually protection. What you thought was people leaving you was God clearing the path. Loyalty can become limitation if you cling to the wrong circle. You can love people and still not be allowed to take them with you. You can care about them, but God will not allow them to ride into your breakthrough if they don't carry the character to sustain the blessing with you. Your blessing needs a new environment. The next level requires space, and God is removing anything that takes oxygen out of your calling. The weight of unaligned relationships cannot accompany the weight of purpose. Some phone numbers will expire. Some conversations will stop flowing. Some invitations will stop coming. And that is not a loss. It is alignment. When God shifts your circle, He is shifting your altitude. And once separation takes place, the next phase arrives. God begins releasing ideas, not just income. This is the billionaire anointing. Not because everyone becomes a billionaire, but because God gives ideas that carry the ability to create generational wealth. Heaven is positioning you for abundance that outlives you. This is the season where God speaks to your creativity, your innovation, your leadership, your resourcefulness. He is awakening the part of you that was buried under survival mode. For too long, you were just trying to get through the day, but now God is showing you how to build the future. Your hands are made to build, not just survive. The blessing isn't meant to drop into your lap. You're being shaped into a vessel that generates it. Opportunities will begin to chase you because you became someone who can maximize them. You won't have to beg for rooms, beg for approval, beg for funding, beg for support. Your gift will attract the right audience. Your discipline will attract the right resources. Your obedience will attract favor. A single idea can become a lifetime harvest. A moment of divine inspiration can break generational patterns. You're not stepping into luck, you're stepping into strategy. God isn't blessing you randomly, He is activating the builder inside of you. And when the ideas are released, the final phase of this part begins, the test of obedience. God cannot bless what you refuse to move toward. A promise without action becomes a memory. Faith requires movement. Belief without steps is imagination. God gives the blueprint, but you must build. Heaven sends the instruction, but you must execute. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. Some doors don't stay open forever. They open for those who act when God speaks. The blessing you prayed for is now waiting on the version of you that acts instead of hesitates. The moment you step, God will provide. Provision rarely appears before movement. It appears during movement. When Peter stepped out onto the water, the surface became stable under his feet only after he moved. That is the season you are in now. God will not give you clarity ahead of action. Clarity will come as you walk. The unknown is not danger. It is destiny unfolding. Your obedience is the key that unlocks abundance. You cannot stay where you are and receive what God has for you. You must press forward. You must step out. You must do the thing that scares you. You must invest, apply, build, create, launch, transition, or try again. Fear has been the fence around your blessing, and obedience is the gate. The shift happening inside you is no longer about waiting for a miracle. It is about becoming someone capable of stewarding one. God has already chosen you. God has already prepared the opportunity. The blessing is already assigned to your name. The only thing left is movement. The old relationships are gone because they cannot sit at this new table. The ideas in your spirit are not your imagination. They are strategy from heaven. The instructions in your gut are not random feelings. They are divine directions. Every delay was positioning. Every separation was protection. Every loss was making room. And every test has been preparation. You are not behind. You are aligned. What God is releasing next requires everything you've learned, everything you survived, and everything you're becoming. This is not just breakthrough. This is transformation. And the moment you decide to fully obey, the season you prayed for becomes the season you live in. And when that shift happens, favor starts responding to you. Uncommon favor is when God begins to move through people you didn't expect and connections you didn't pursue. God is sending people who will say yes without explanation, without hesitation, without needing to know everything about you. They will say yes because God touched their heart on your behalf. They will help you because heaven assigned them to your journey. You won't have to force doors, beg for opportunities, or prove yourself to the wrong audience. You will sit in rooms you didn't apply for, sit at tables you didn't compete to reach, and be welcomed into spaces you once thought were beyond you. What you thought you had to grind for, God is granting through favor. Your name is being mentioned in places your feet haven't touched yet, and the people speaking your name don't even know all your history. They just recognize your value, your excellence, your anointing. God is causing conversations about you that your ears haven't heard yet. And where relationships were lost, divine connections are taking their place. People who left made space for people who are loyal, supportive, aligned, and spiritually mature. The days of emotional leeches and one-sided loyalty are over. Favor will accomplish what hustle never could. Favor is acceleration without explanation, access without struggle, and opportunities without competition. When God favors you, no one can block it, question it, or delay it. And as favor flows, the wealth transfer begins, not in fantasy, but in spiritual law. What the enemy stole is returning multiplied, because God never allows loss without compensation. You cried, thinking something was taken from you, but heaven was preparing the return package. Every seed planted in tears is coming back in harvest. Hidden opportunities are being released to God's chosen. Opportunities that were buried, overlooked, or invisible to the wrong people are now being unlocked for the right ones. Wealth in wrong hands is shifting to righteous hands. People who misused resources, authority, and influence will lose their monopoly. People who oppressed others for gain are about to witness the reversal. God is flipping the script. The last will be first. The underestimated will be elevated. The rejected will be selected. Those who were invisible will become undeniable. What was once closed to you will now call for you. You're not chasing blessing. Blessing is finding you. You're not chasing provision. Provision is locating assignment. You're not chasing opportunity. Opportunity is chasing obedience. You are entering a season where favor, wealth, and opportunity find you not because you hunted for them, but because you positioned yourself spiritually to receive them. And now, everything begins to manifest as the breakthrough season arrives. The cycle of almost is ending. The pattern of getting close and losing it, almost stepping in and being pulled back, nearly winning and watching it slip away. That cycle breaks now. The spiritual resistance that has followed you for years is losing its access. Closed doors are becoming open gates. It won't just be a small victory. It will be an opening so wide that no one can deny God's hand over your life. What was once difficult will suddenly become effortless. Not because the task changed, but because the season shifted. Lack is breaking. Overflow is forming. You will not have to stretch crumbs anymore. You will not have to survive miracle to miracle. You will not have to pretend to be okay. The grace that's coming is not about scraping by. It's about overflowing. God is restoring years, not just days. Time you thought was wasted is being redeemed. Opportunities you thought were gone forever are circling back renewed. Everything you lost didn't disappear. It is returning upgraded. God doesn't just restore possessions. He restores time, confidence, identity, purpose, and joy. And when breakthrough hits, it will happen suddenly. But don't be deceived by the suddenly. It didn't come out of nowhere. It's been building silently. You didn't see the meetings that were happening about you. You didn't hear the conversations where your name was mentioned. You didn't witness the divine positioning. You didn't see the character development inside yourself, the pruning of your circle, the refining of your vision. But heaven saw every moment, every prayer, every tear, every act of faith, every step forward, every night you stayed faithful when quitting would have been easier. The breakthrough is not luck, it is harvest. A spiritual accumulation you didn't realize was compounding. God is releasing blessing in the measure of obedience, favor in the measure of endurance, and elevation in the measure of character. What is about to meet you is not just reward, it is recognition from heaven. Not because you are perfect, but because you stayed, because you endured when others gave up, because you believed when your circumstances mocked your faith. This is the transition from waiting to possessing, from warfare to harvest, from preparation to manifestation. Things that used to resist you are now going to cooperate with you. Things that used to stall you will now support you. What once ignored you will now pursue you. The shift is not coming. It has begun. The blessing is not approaching. It is arriving. And the momentum that begins here does not stop. The same God who removed the wrong connections is sending the right ones. The same God who stripped you is now filling you. The same God who tested your obedience is now rewarding it. The same God who allowed loss is now releasing restoration with interest. Nothing in your past disqualified you. Everything in your past prepared you. And the next phase that is coming, the phase that rises after breakthrough, is the part that builds legacy, impact, and generational transformation without slowing down, which means you can't step into it casually or unprepared. Preparing for the release means you can no longer live like nothing is about to happen. You must organize your life for what you prayed for. You can't ask God for overflow and still operate in disarray. Blessings require structure, not chaos. God will not pour into a container that leaks. This next season is not about desperate hoping. It's about intentional positioning. Expectation is evidence of faith. When you expect the blessing, you make room for it. When you truly believe the opportunity is coming, you prepare for it before it arrives. Getting ready isn't emotional hype. It's strategic action. Get ready physically, mentally, financially. Clear the schedule. Tie up loose ends. Fix what you've been ignoring. Upgrade your habits. Discipline your focus. Become the version of yourself that can carry the weight of answered prayers. God sends provision where there is preparation. Heaven does not deliver to places that are not ready to receive. God is not withholding the blessing. He's waiting for alignment. When your preparation matches your prayer, release becomes inevitable. But with release comes another phase, protection of the promise. Every blessing comes with responsibility. You cannot carry breakthrough with the same openness you carried heartbreak. Not everyone should know what God is about to do for you. Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is stewardship. Privacy protects miracles. There are people who will celebrate the process but sabotage the promise. God is warning you in advance. What He gives you is not for public debate. Not every instruction needs validation. Not every door needs an audience. Not every testimony needs an announcement. Some blessings must be nurtured before they are revealed. Guard your vision like treasure. Guard your peace. Guard your ideas. Guard your focus. The enemy cannot destroy what he cannot identify. The more God elevates you, the more intentional you must be about your circle, your conversations, your access points, and your atmosphere. You don't need the world's approval, just God's direction. And when the blessing is protected, the final phase begins, walking into abundance. God didn't bring you this far just to bless you, but to transform you. What you're stepping into isn't just achievement, it's identity. This blessing is not an accomplishment, it's a becoming. God didn't just answer your prayer, He evolved you into the person who can steward the promise. You will become a testimony of supernatural breakthrough. You won't just talk about miracles, you will live inside one. You won't have to convince anyone that God is real. They will see evidence through your life. Your blessing will outlive you and impact generations. Your transformation will change the course of your family, your lineage, and the spiritual inheritance of those who come after you. The cycle of lack ends with you. The heritage of struggle ends with you. The mindset of survival ends with you. From now on, breakthrough is not an event. It's a culture. God's promise will prove every doubter wrong. Every person who underestimated you will witness the blessing they thought you'd never reach. Every voice that suggested you weren't enough will confront the undeniable truth of your elevation. Nothing about this is accidental. It is the fulfillment of divine intention. You're not entering a new chapter. You're entering a new life. You won't recognize yourself compared to who you were in your season of survival. The confidence, the clarity, the peace, the provision, the stability, the purpose, everything is shifting. You're no longer living from pain, but from promise. You're no longer reacting to life. You're building it. You're no longer hoping something good will happen. You're living in the reality that it already has. What God is releasing now is not temporary, not fragile, not conditional, not uncertain. It is permanent transformation. You didn't wait this long to taste blessing only for a moment. You waited to step into it and never leave it. This isn't the climax, it's the beginning. This isn't the conclusion, it's the installation of a new identity. The doors are open, the favor is active, the resources are aligned, the timing is perfect, the path is cleared, the right people are positioned, the weight of delay has lifted. Everything that fought you has lost its authority. Everything you lost is returning with interest. Everything that hurt you is becoming fuel for destiny. You are standing in the reality you once prayed for, and the version of you that endured, survived, cried, and kept going. That version didn't suffer in vain. They carried you to this moment. They handed you the keys to a life built through faith, endurance, character, obedience, and divine timing. You are not who you were. You are not where you were. You are not living how you used to live. You are in abundance, not visiting it, not chasing it, not wishing for it, living in it. This is your season of release, protection, manifestation, and legacy, and nothing can reverse what God has begun.